I saw an interesting video today of Frank Turek, and he's talking on the topic of does God send people to hell? It was a very interesting take, and I would like to show it to you, and then I have some commentary. So here it is.
Does God send us to hell?
Does God send us to hell? The assumption is everybody wants to go to heaven. That is not true. Who's in heaven? Jesus is in heaven. Well, there have been people running from Jesus their entire lives. What's he going to do in the afterlife? Hey, where are you going? Get over here. You're with me now.
Right.
Ladies, have you ever had a man pursue you whom you did not want to date? Well, ladies, suppose this doesn't deter this man. He keeps asking you out. And you finally had a little bit of enough of it. You say, look, I like you, but only as a
Friend.
But suppose this doesn't deter this guy. He continues to ask you out, and he finally says to you, look, I love you so much, I'm going to force you to love me. Ladies, run screaming from the building. Can he force you to love him?
Nope.
No, love by definition must be freely given. So ladies, if he truly did love you, what would he do? He would leave you alone. That's what God does for us. He sends us cards, letters, and flowers. He sends us creation. He sends us conscience. He sends us Christ. He sends us the Bible. If God does all of that, and you keep saying, no, 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 I don't want you, God will give you up to your own desires. He will leave you alone.
Yeah, I think Frank nails this on the head. Most of my life when I've gone to church, I've heard a lot of guilt sermons about, oh, your neighbors are going to hell, oh, your relatives are going to hell, and they're going to look up from the flames and blame you. Why didn't you tell me? But I don't think that's the way it's going to be. We should share Christ from love and responsibility and commitment, but it's up to them to make the choice. Romans 1 is about men know God when they look at the flowers, and they look at the trees, and they look at the sky. When they look at nature and look at themselves, they know there's a God, but they reject that thought. It's called having a reprobate mind. It's called having a seared conscience. They know in their conscience they're in the wrong. There's even the scripture in Romans that says, you are inexcusable, O man. So we are to share Christ, but we have to realize that there are some people, if you gave them $1 million in 1,000,000 years, they would still say, I don't want you. I hate you. I don't want to be in your presence. So their sins will stay on their head. They do not have anyone who's paid for them. But we have to realize we should share Christ out of a sense of love and commitment and duty, but also realize that people are going to choose what they're going to choose. So I like what Frank is saying here, and I've heard it from a couple of other preachers. I myself did a study of gnashing of teeth. The concept of gnashing of teeth I've always thought of in church was you're gritting it through, and I'm sad and crying and just gritting. No, it's to complain. You know, it's being contentious. It is going back and saying, no, you're the one in the wrong. No, I was in the right. There will be a certain level of contentiousness. There are people who will go down there saying they were in the right and God was in the wrong. It's just how some people are going to respond. We should share the gospel with love, but realize people are going to choose what they're going to choose. So I like what Frank has to say here, and I've heard a couple of other guys say this. When you research gnashing of teeth in Acts, Paul was yelled at by the Jews around him, and it says they gnashed their teeth at him. So you get that argumentative, violent structuring come at them. We see this sometimes also when people are out street witnessing and whatnot. So very interesting video, very interesting concept that I agree with. So go back and watch it again and share Christ from love, but realize just sadly, some people are going to choose what they're going to choose. Give them $1 million in 1,000,000 years, and they're still going to say, I don't want your God.